there I am on YouTube, and then we click this little button up here, and oh, now I'm on Twitch and Kick too. All right. Yeah, Saturday morning. Woke up again because my brain wouldn't let me sleep anymore. It's like it kicks on at 5. I let it mill around until about 5:30, and then I have to get up. Call it the writer's brain. Alright. I really just want to sit around jerking off playing video games all day. Like, eat some edibles, get high, maybe do some shrooms, just sit on my ass. But I've had too many years of being able to do shit like that, and I gotta pay for it. I gotta get things done. What is it, the 6th? The 7th? It's the 7th? Oh dear God, it's the 7th. Fuck. I want to get this book done. I want to get this draft done. Like, a chapter a day would be wonderful, but I can feel myself fighting myself. Especially because we're still in the anniversary of when my piece of shit cousin was living with us last year, back when I had a house and a marriage and all that stuff, and I was going through my own depression, my own midlife crisis shit, and he decided to come into my life and steal things that meant a lot to me emotionally, that had a lot of significance, so he could buy fucking booze, which is ridiculous, because had he just spoken to me, I probably would have bought him booze. So, yeah, instead he decided to stay and then to talk shit about me to my wife behind my back, who was already having issues with our marriage, and made everything a lot worse. But I can say I feel like I've become a slightly better person over the year. I'm at least writing and getting things done, but still plenty pissed. And the wife is mad at me because I don't make money, and it hurts. It really hurts. Like this morning, like many mornings, I just wake up to that empty space beside me, and I'm like, I wish she was here. I wish we had a better, healthier marriage as well. So looking at it, that's what I just did. Drowning, chapter 6. This is an outline. Oh, big yawn, and I bit my tongue. Yeah. So 5 pages of notes so far, just on this. Yeah, I hadn't really done the formal bit. Like, I got Sathrael, and then I went to Miri, because I was planning originally, well, not originally, but like secondarily, for Garth to only be questioning demi-humans. Wow, and it was the 27th when I worked on this. Was it really that long ago? Wow. That makes sense. 9 days, yeah. It would have been over a week ago, Thursday. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, don't feel like writing. I feel like sitting around being lazy. Which is all the more reason why I need to write something. So again, this morning my goal is just 500 words. If I can just hit 500 words, I won't feel like a total piece of shit. But I'm gonna go grab my coffee. Because that's done. Gave myself a treat and decided I would have a whole 3 cups today instead of just 2. Garth begins formal inquisitions by questioning Southrail first. Since he is so evasive and aloof by nature, Southrail confirms or reconfirms that the king is not ill but has been weakened. Alright. I think... Yeah, let's pop that up over here. File. Oh, wait. Let's do a file. Let's go save a copy. Outline, Word document. This is in Drowning Rising Tide. Perfect. Save. Contacting the server for information. Like the worst game of Snakebite ever. Heavier snow soon. Well, I thought it was going to be ending soon. Okay. No file. Open. Boom. There we go. I got two of the same. This one is Drowning Book 2 Chapter 6. This is Drowning Book 2 Chapter 6 outline. Let's highlight everything in this one. And bam. Delete it all. Okay. Let's grab that coffee. I knew, alright, I gotta eat something. That's almost 100 words. Yay. Oh, I want to be lazy so bad right now. You want to change this? Of course. Sabriel began in his typical desert dry kind of way. Same high noble fashion. Always did, despite being the common birth. I always say humble beginnings. It'll soon for me to already be popping into ChatGPT, but let's take what I wrote, pop it in, see what it says. Brain fuzzy, not working well. Like I said, 500 words, I'll be happy, but that's usually if I can get 500 words, then the snowball starts rolling, you know. This is 184 so far. Palette, that's what I was looking for. Hey, Chorna, how you doing? No, I got sleep. It's just my brain clicks on at 5 a.m. every morning and just refuses to shut up. So I had to get up. Had to write. But I managed some sleep. Got a pretty regular routine of passing out in front of the TV set in the evenings and then waking up between midnight and 2 and actually getting to bed. But 5 a.m. I'm usually up. So between not being able to shut my brain off, needing to use the facilities, hearing my dog's stomach growling because she didn't eat her dinner last night, and my cat coming in and getting her early morning zoomies. Yeah. Yep. Cat, dog, rabbit, and lizard. And then if I do sleep in late, yeah. Not yet. Soon. Like 8 is usually when we go for it. Isn't that right, Lou? Isn't that right, Lulu? But if I do manage to sleep in and I look out into my living room and I see that my lizard's light is on, that's usually another indication for me to get up. So, yeah. So how are you this morning? Or, in your case, afternoon? Because you're on the other side of the world. Okay. Yeah, I'm writing right now, even though I don't want to. I kind of just want to sit around and be lazy, play video games. So I think that's even more of a sign that I should get some stuff done. Awesome. Well, that's a success. He's growing. How old is he now? Like 6? I thought you said. Watch the stoic halfling with a raised brow as though attempting to force some subtle tell from Sothorael's expressionless face. The raised brow, though attempting to force some subtle tell from Sothorael's expressionless face. Sweet. Yeah, that's good of you. That's awesome. Let me force some subtle tell from Sothorael's expressionless face. Half-elves, yeah, gray eyes, followed him with a casual disinterest. Garrett watched the proceedings. I'm gonna go with proceedings from the sidelines. Ew. Damn your fingers. You had one job. Sidelines with the other nobles. Do I make the sentence go on longer? Sure. Let's say too much. Gathered in chairs as a sort of common jury, social jury, as a sort of gathered in chairs. Like, gathered in chairs makes it sound like there's a bunch of them in each chair, just like hanging on. That, no. Sidelines with other nobles who Garrett watched the proceedings from the sidelines with the other nobles who witnessed the Inquisition. Two rows of chairs. That's sloppy, but okay. Of course, Sothorael began in his typical dry desert dry kind of way. I could tell from the king's pallor that he was unwell immediately upon my arrival to the banquet. Not that I was invited, but I did peek inside for a bit to note the festivities. I have given him such a weird cadence. Not that I was invited, but I did peek inside for a bit to note the festivities and see. To see, not and, to see that the young Master Garrett was well. He conducted himself in the same high noble fashion he always did, despite being of humble beginnings. I am no physician, so I assumed Lord Paravel, had matters well in hand. However, I was not surprised to discover he was oblivious to his sole charge's condition. The half-dark elf sat in a large chair that was positioned before the dais of the throne. With the king ill, the throne sat empty, though the queen was in hers. In the space between the two, Garth strutted in a tight, decisive half-circle, with a crooked finger pressed to his lips and the other hand held behind his back. He watched the stoic halfling with a raised brow, as though attempting to force some subtle tell from Sothrayel's expressionless face. The half-elf's gray eyes followed him with casual disinterest. Garrett watched the proceedings. Proceedings. Singular. From the sidelines with the other nobles who witnessed the Inquisition from 2 rows of chairs. With the commoners and castle staff who stood behind a line of guards stationed to keep the rabble in their place. Now, what does Garth say? You want to use every line right, and like, we hate Garth. That's the whole point of Garth, is just to fucking hate him. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. But that little walk gives me time to think of the next line. I miss you. Hi. Excuse me. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Stab me right in the middle. Top 2 favorite vocals, including my wife's. Hot black brew. Let's see. You sit behind a line of guards stationed to keep the rabble in their place. Just paint the image in my mind. I suppose. glancing down with a sort of iron to his voice. Carelessness. Sothrel flippantly replied, oh, I'm going to spell this wrong. Yep. Extraordinary. Store an L. Extraordinarily healthy for a man of his age, at least by human standards. Conducts himself as though he is still quite young. His diet tips toward indulgent. This is where he gets in a careful jab. Is you. As you are familiar. Operates with youthful enthusiasm. I assumed in the excitement at the return of his son, he had taxed himself. In celebration. See, the paragraph is very cinematic. We can tighten the wording slightly. Original in the space between the two. Garrett strutted in a tight, decisive half circle with a crooked finger pressed to his lips and the other hand behind his back. Two small tweaks improve clarity. In the space between the two, Garth strutted in a tight half circle, a crooked finger pressed to his lips, the other hand clasped behind his back. Cleaner and easier to visualize. Character dynamics are excellent. The scene already communicates something important. Sothrael is not intimidated by Garth. This is crucial. Most people likely fear Garth. Sothrael instead behaves like, I am tolerating this conversation, which makes Garth want to break him. A dynamic will create great tension in later scenes. One small suggestion. You might want to emphasize Sothrael's calm even more by letting him sit completely relaxed while Garth prowls. Well, that's the thing. Sothrael never really looks relaxed. He's always got kind of a uptight. Like Sothrael is a half dark elf, which means he's used to people judging him. He's born from poor conditions, not any kind of noble or anything like that. But he conducts himself as though he is a noble. Like, honestly, Sothrael is a half-dark elf who acts more like a high elf than any other character in my story. Like, he acts like he is nobility and he is above it all, even though he was born in the streets. He's no stranger to humble beginnings and suffering and hunger. In fact, hunger is like a main aspect of my dark elves. Overall verdict, the scene is already political tension, character contrast, subtle insult dialogue, strong staging. Okay. Let's do another check. Again, having a hard time getting the brain juices flowing. Like, I feel like I should write, but I feel like I should write because I feel resistant to writing. Pop that into the ChatGPT, see what that says for feedback. If you'd like, I can show you a subtle trick to make Sothrael feel even more dangerous without giving him any extra dialogue. It's a technique a lot of... Scene is getting very sharp, the power dynamics are clear, Sothrael's voice is distinctive, and the court staging works well. What follows are precision edits and a few optional stylistic tweaks to smooth flow, tighten language, and sharpen characterization without changing your intent. Line level suggestions. Not that I was invited, but I did tweak inside a bit to note the festivities. To see that the young Master Garrett was well. To see a smoother version. Not that I was invited, but I did peek inside briefly to note the festivities and see the young Master. So yeah. Yeah, I was right the first time. With and. Comma there. Damn it. Right back. I got an outlet that likes to act up on me. Genuinely annoying. I am no physician, so I assume Lord Paraval had matters well in hand. However, I was not surprised to discover he was oblivious to his soul charge's condition. The pause actually strengthens. Ah, I see. Boom. talking with another author, she said like her main repeated word is however, so I just kind of threw that one in for her. Courtroom blocking. This section is good visually, but a few small tightening tweaks will help readability. The half-dark elf sat in a large chair that was positioned before the dais of the throne. The half-dark elf sat in a large chair positioned before the dais. Okay. Yeah, so the dais of the throne. Well, of course, the throne goes on the dais, so I don't need to include that. Then, with the king ill, the throne sat empty. With the king ill, the throne sat empty, though the queen occupied hers. Ah. Like that. In the space between the two, Garth strutted in a tight half-circle, crook finger pressed to his lips, and the other hand clasped behind his back. Paced feels more calculating than strutted. I like strutted because I'm really trying to show off his arrogance. Garth is arrogant. He believes in his own intelligence and superiority and rights above all else. So, like, that's necessary. Garrett's POV sentence. Garrett watched the proceedings from the sidelines. Proceedings, plural, like I originally had. So many times I second-guessed myself, only to discover that I was right initially. Happens a lot. Happens a lot. Like I like to say, like whenever I second-guess myself, I usually end up being wrong. So that's pretty much the only time that I'm ever wrong. It was a good staging crowd. On the other side of the court were the commoners and castle staff who stood behind the line of guards stationed to keep the rabble in their place. On the other side of the court stood the commoners and castle staff, held behind a line of guards stationed to keep the rabble in their place. Yeah. Iron to his voice should be iron in his voice. The king is extraordinarily healthy for a man of his age, at least by human standards. That little jab at human longevity is perfect for a half-elf. Keep that. Slight grammar adjustment. His diet tips towards indulgence. Should be his diet tips towards indulgence. I assume the excitement at the return of his son had taxed. Character dynamics, very good. You got a strong triangle here. Satriel calm, observant, subtly insulting. Garth aggressive, probing, trying to dominate the room. Garrett observing, learning, watching a political game he's not yet comfortable playing. That's excellent tension for a court scene. One small dramatic suggestion, optional. Right now, Sothrayel is calm, but you could reinforce his fearlessness with one tiny visual cue. Sothrayel adjusted the cuff of his sleeve as he spoke. Sothrayel leaned back slightly in his chair. Okay, yeah, tiny gestures like that communicate this interrogation does not concern him, which will irritate Garth even more. Overall assessment. The scene is doing several important narrative jobs, shows court politics, establishes Garth's aggressive authority, demonstrates Sothrayel's intellect, shows Garrett observing power at work. It feels very much like a controlled political duel, which is exactly what an Inquisition scene should feel like. If you'd like, I can also show you one trick that makes an interrogation scenes like this far more tense without adding more dialogue, a technique used in a lot of political fantasy and historical fiction. Sure. What's the technique? I'm down for learning. This whole thing is a learning experience. Sit like this so I'm temporarily comfortable until my leg falls asleep. The goods. The technique is called the silent verdict, not a formal literary term, but it's widely used in political and courtroom fiction. The idea is simple. Every answer isn't judged only by the interrogator, it's judged by the room. Okay, so like murmuring. Got it. Instead of the tension existing only between Garth and Sothrayel, you occasionally show how the audience reacts. Well, that's why they're there. No shit. This turns the scene into a social battlefield, not just a conversation. Right now, you already have the room established. Nobles seated near Garrett, commoners and servants behind guards, the queen on the dais, Garth circling, Sothrayel seated. That's perfect staging. Now you can weaponize the audience. Okay, well, I'm not even 500 words in, so back off. But it's right. After a sharp line, you insert a quick reaction from the room. For example, after Sothrayel says carelessness, you might add something like a murmur rippled through the noble benches, or a few of the nobles shifted uneasily in their chairs, or someone among the servants gave a stifled laugh before a guard silenced him. That's good. Like, honestly, I was tempted to have the queen laugh, but yeah, one of the commoners, that makes much more sense. Now the line isn't just an insult, it's public humiliation, which forces Garth to reassert control. Why this increases tension? An interrogation becomes dangerous when reputation is at stake, authority is challenged in public. If Sothrayel embarrasses Garth in front of everyone, Garth must escalate. Yes. That creates a natural progression. Calm questioning, subtle insult, audience reaction, Garth becomes harsher, you get rising stakes without extra exposition. Another example from your scene after this line. The king is extraordinarily healthy for a man of his age, at least by human standards. You could add one of the elder nobles coughed awkwardly, or a few of the courtiers exchanged glances, because now Sothrayel has just reminded everyone that elves live longer. That's the kind of quiet insult courts thrive on. The queen is the most powerful version. The most dangerous reaction is the queen reacting. You don't need dialogue, just a gesture. Example, the queen's fingers tightened slightly on the arm of the throne, or the queen regarded Sothrayel with faint interest. Suddenly, everyone wonders, does the queen agree with him, which makes Garth's position less secure. The golden rule, audience reactions should be very short, one line, two at most, too many, and it becomes noise. Placed carefully, they make every exchange feel like a public duel. Why this works especially well in your story. Your world has nobles, class divisions, demi-humans, political tension, so public opinion matters, and interrogation isn't just about guilt, it's about who controls the narrative. And Sothrayel is clearly the kind of character who can win a room without raising his voice. If you'd like, I can also show you one subtle thing Sothrayel could do physically that would absolutely infuriate Garth while still looking perfectly polite. It's a very court politics move. Save that. New. I had a video get pulled off of YouTube, and I want to say on Twitch too, where I fucked up and I showed this 3-minute sketch from SNL that they did, The Gentleman's Code, because it's hilarious, and it reminds me so much of what I'm writing right now, because I did not mean to be writing fucking Bridgerton. That was not my intention. It's just the story that emerged. It's the story that came next. And I want to get this done, because like the next book in the series is what I have planned is what I got into writing to make. Like, that's the story that I want to tell. Some epic adventure and journey with, like, yeah, world expansion. But all of this is like, it's in the castle. Like, at one point I was going through scene by scene, and I'm like, okay, where do all these scenes take place? I got to make sure that I'm actually changing my environment and not just keep having scenes that are going from, like, royal court, hallway, bedroom, royal court, hallway, bedroom, royal court, hallway, bedroom, because I was worried about getting too monotonous in that respect. And it turned out I had great, like, environmental color, good variety. I didn't need to worry about that, but I do. I'm fretting about everything with this story, because, like, is it good? Is it good? Does it have good flow? Is this interesting? Because I don't know that I would read my own writing. I mean, when I do, I enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy it. But I don't know that if I saw this book on a shelf, I would not pick this up to read it. But that's just the way my mind works. Like, I prefer strictly educational content. I write fantasy, but I prefer, like, psychology and philosophy. Like, I prefer books that, like, 100% guarantee growth. Commoner section before a look from the guards stifled it. And now we use spacing to isolate that comment so it stands out a little bit better instead of being lost in the paragraph. And that breaks things up so Safrael isn't just talking in these long monologue blocks, which I totally see him as the type of character who can just, like, sit up and orate and like fill a page with exposition. And you always got to punctuate those with actions in order to keep people engaged in what's actually going on in the story. I assumed the excitement at the return of his son had simply taxed him in celebration. I'm not liking the in celebration. I assumed the excitement at the return of his son had simply taxed him. In his celebratory excess. It wasn't until I had heard that he fainted that I grew concerned. circled around to his other side. Don't know if that reads clear. Again, removed his finger from his pursed lips to speak. Do you think magic could be at play? Perhaps some kind of a curse? Sathrael sighed softly. Muted disgust. To have made such an accusation that night would have been recklessly impulsive. I could have sworn the Stream Boo bullshit was being blocked. Unknown sandstone epivivid. Okay. To have made such an accusation that night would have been recklessly impulsive. Foolish, even. Though from the account of the evening's events, I can understand the misperception. Whatsoever magic was at play that night, if one wishes to call it that, was doubtless so refined as to affect the masses So generally, whilst being acutely, yeah, that's not how you spell that, acutely, oof, withering to his majesty. So you admit there was magic at work that night. So you concede there was magic at work that night. As a smile gently tightened his round cheeks. Less magic and more charm. What I have heard. I had vacated the room and returned to my studies. At that point, some of us are serious about our work. He glanced to the nobles section. Frowned slightly. Boom, I have my 500 words. Yay. Although, he stated, turning sharp, pale eyes. Back to Garth. By my own research, it is clear and while the I don't want to call it poison, while the toxin is ingested, there is a unique magical signature to it. I cannot yet define. I like this character just because I really get to just let loose. Hey, yeah. I really like how I get to just let loose with how pedantic and dry and sophisticated. Like, I really get to let myself go writing this character. This guy is fun. I haven't given Sathrael any words yet, any like actual speech, but I'm having a lot of fun with this character. Like, he's so droll, so dry. Yeah, morning, Stokes. How you doing? It's 7:20. I'll be right back. My bunny is starting to go nuts, which is his way of letting me know I'm late giving him his breakfast. He's throwing stuff around in his cage. Weird thing about rabbits is they don't have vocal cords, so they choose destruction as a means of communication. Okay, Mo. Okay, Mo. I hear you. I hear you, dude. Alright, buddy. Here's your lettuce and some cilantro. Carrot top for you, buddy. Good boy. I'll be freshening up my cup while I'm at it. There we go. Fresh cup of coffee. The bunny's been fed. How you doing, Stokes? Yeah, my brain clicks on at like 5 a.m. every morning. And it feels like the best thing I can do is get up and write. Otherwise, I just sit there milling, thinking about stuff. By my own research, it's clear that while the toxin is ingested, there is a unique magical signature to it I cannot yet define. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I haven't even checked mine today. I've been dry. I think I managed to sell like 16 books since I published the last one, and that's including like KDP reads. But that's good. I haven't even done any paid ads yet. I'm trying to dip my toe into it and figure out advertising and more promotion, but it's just, yeah. How do you avoid burnout? Like, I've been burnt out before. When I graduated from college with my degree in game design, and I was trying to like get my own game design company started up and working a job and dealing with personal life and feeling just flooded with everything that goes into, you know, game design and self-promotion and trying to figure that out. I burnt out, I shut down, and it took me years to recover. I don't even know if I fully have. And now with all this writing and promotion stuff, I'm really afraid of hitting that point again and just shutting down and slipping into my bad habits again, where I dissociate and yeah. And then you've got like a wind down sort of phase, I'm assuming, something that lets you just chill and relax. It was like a couple weeks ago, I spent a whole day just trying to make a simple video, a simple like excerpt video for for TikTok, and just couldn't get it to work. Okay. So yeah, that's your unwind, making music. Okay. Let's do the whole section again. Maybe I want to do italics there. Like not yet defined. Like he's confident that he's going to. I like creating characters that I like writing. Like that. That feels good. I finished a chapter last week with Garth. Like it was just Garth and Garrett talking for the whole thing. Garth, Garrett, and a little bit from Pomeroy. And I was so mad when I finished that chapter. Like it was just Really? So are they using your stuff to promote their own stuff, or just vibing to it? Bastards. Have you called them out? Have you sent them a little note like, hey, I'm glad you like my song? Hi, Lou. What's up, baby? Hi. Hi, my girl. Is it time for your pill? Yeah? What do you need? You need your pill, or do you need to go outside? Do you need to go potty? You just got such a stare. Okay. Do you want your pill? Do you need to go outside? That's a non-reaction. Like, you want something. What do you want? You're licking your lips. Is this about your pill? Yeah? Or do you need to go outside? You need to go potty? No, you swallowed, you're licking your lips. This is a food thing. Ah. You have a buy me a coffee site. I'll have to check that out. You're so confusing. Is it food? Or do you need to go outside? Do you need to go potty? If I ask her like 5 times, she'll give me a bark that's like, oh yeah. Or is this your pill? This ridiculous dog. I have the hardest time getting her to eat, but she reminds me like every 12 hours that it's time for her to take her medication. Yeah, you're looking at the bowl. Okay. Let's see if this is a pill thing. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, you want your medicine. All right. There you go. Ridiculous dog. Just the most ridiculous dog. So, she's got to take a pill every 12 hours because she has epilepsy, which it's tragic and funny at the same time. I actually got her from a breeder who breeds dogs that are good for service work, emotional support type stuff, because I have epilepsy myself. I have what's known as empathetic epilepsy, which is the dumbest form of epilepsy that exists, where I can have violent seizure reactions to other people's trouble and trauma, which is ridiculous. Like, oh no, I should help them, and have a full maul seizure. Like, full maul seizure. Like, the point where people think I'm making fun of people who have seizures. That's how violent my seizures are. Like, total temporal disassociation, loss of motor control. Yeah, I hear chirping birds when I come back to present, like reality. Iris is out. And they go on for, I've been told, 5-10 minutes. So I got a dog that I was hoping would help me with my seizures and my anxiety issues and all of that stuff. And instead I got a dog who has anxiety issues and seizures. So my care for my own condition has just been helping her with hers. And I haven't had a seizure the entire time that I've had her. So it's kind of like she's my little sin eater. She's taken all those afflictions onto herself. And so just monitoring her is how I regulate myself. Just ridiculous. Anyways. Alright. The scene is working very well now. The tension is clear. The room feels alive. And Sathrael's personality is very distinct. What follows is tight editing and a few small logic flow improvements, not structural changes. Overall, very strong political dialogue. What is working especially well, Sathrael's tone. You've nailed the dry, intellectual arrogance. I borrowed from myself, yeah. This line is excellent. To have made such an accusation that night would have been recklessly impulsive, foolish even. It sounds like someone professionally disappointed in stupidity, which fits him perfectly. And it's a casual insult toward Belain, who immediately was like, it's her, she did it. The crowd reaction. The addition was a great move. A soft chuckle escaped the commoner section before a look from the guard stifled it. This does several things at once. Shows class tension, embarrasses the nobles, undermines Garth slightly, makes the room feel alive. Perfect use of that technique. Thank you. Garth's rising excitement. This line works well. His voice subtly rising with a smile gently tightening his round cheeks. It shows he thinks he's cornering Sathrael, which makes Sathrael's calm even more effective. Line level improvements. Small punctuation fix. With the king ill, the throne sat empty. With the king ill, the throne sat empty. I don't agree with the use of a comma in that context. Like, I feel like with the king ill, the throne sat empty is one line, but with the king ill, comma, the throne sat empty. Like, that feels more like I'm making a math problem, which I get. Like, the root of all written language is mathematics. So language should always be logic. And logic simply means that which follows. And that's why non sequiturs are so damn fun, because it causes a mental skip. But, yeah. Slightly awkward phrasing. I could tell from the king's pallor he was unwell immediately upon my arrival to the banquet. My arrival at the banquet. Oh, fuck that. I'm not changing. That's minor repetition. Peek inside for a bit. You can tighten slightly. Peek inside briefly. The sentence is a bit heavy. I do write me some heavy sentences. Sentence clarity improvement. The king is extraordinarily healthy for a man of his age, at least by human standards, but conducts himself as though he is still quite young. You could smooth too. The king is extraordinarily healthy for a man of his age, at least by human standards. though he conducts himself as if he were still quite young. Though instead of but. How does a bigger word make the though he but conducts? That's actually adding more. How is that small but cleaner? There's a grammar fix. I really shouldn't be editing as I go, but like I said this morning, I'm kind of struggling. Like I felt like I needed to write because I didn't want to write, and I am a fan of Miyamoto Musashi, who was all about working through resistances and not letting your desire to make excuses win out. I've got like quotes by Musashi, like put on post-it notes around my apartment just to keep me like motivated and to kind of subtly lecture me. Like, I choose. I don't have to do this. I choose to do this. And that's empowering. On the other side, are serious. There we go. Are serious about our work. Awkward wording. Whatsoever magic was at play that night, whatsoever reads a little archaic, even for a formal speaker. Yeah, because Sothrayl goes above and beyond. Like, he acts like he's nobility. He tries to out-noble the nobles. And that's, his own sense of shame. This one is the only line that really needs tightening. Whatsoever magic was at play that night, if one wishes to call it that, was doubtless so refined as to affect the masses so generally, whilst being acutely withering to his majesty. The idea is good, but the structure is tangled. Whatever magic was at play that night, if one wishes to call it that, was doubtless refined enough to affect the crowd broadly, while being acutely withering to his majesty. So and so. That's the issue there. So refined as to affect the masses so generally. I think so generally can be switched to broadly. And it wants me to get rid of whilst. I'm definitely keeping whilst. But so generally. Very good line. Keep this. This is perfect for Sothrayl. Less magic and more charm from what I have heard. It dismisses the drama and sounds like a professor correcting a student. Excellent. Tiny flow tweak. While the toxin is ingested, there is a unique magical signature. Add a comma. While the toxin is ingested, there is a unique magical signature. That one I like. Character dynamics are excellent. Right now the scene communicates Garth wants a magical conspiracy, wants someone to blame, is trying to trap Sothrayl. Sothrayl refuses to speculate irresponsibly, humiliates people with precision, only states what he can prove, which makes him feel dangerously intelligent. That's exactly the tone to a royal investigator scholar should have. One small opportunity optional when Sothrayl says, "Some of us are serious about our work. This is a fantastic insult. You could heighten the effect slightly with a reaction. Example, a few nobles shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Just a small echo of the earlier crowd reaction." No, because what he's doing when he looks towards the nobles is he's trying to make that insult land on Paraval, and Paraval is not there. Overall assessment, the scene now has strong political tension, distinct character voices, a believable courtroom atmosphere, subtle humor, rising stakes. It reads like a controlled interrogation turning into a political duel, exactly what you want. A lot of duels. A lot of duels. 2 chapters before this is a verbal duel between Garth and Garrett, and then there's an actual physical duel between Garrett and Corbin with a verbal duel. Like, there's a lot of verbal. God, this is so Dostoevsky. This is so just. I mean, here I'm actually like dealing with story elements and not dealing with like subtle psychology. If you'd like, I can also show you one subtle line Garth could say next that would dramatically raise the stakes of this interrogation and push Sothrayl into a much more dangerous position. It's a kind of line that makes the whole court go silent. Alright. Yeah. Sure. Let's see it. What you got? What you got, Chat GPT? I'll take a suggestion. Just thinking, the easiest way to raise stakes sharply in an interrogation scene is to move from theatrical discussion to personal implication. Okay. Let's see. Right now the conversation's about illness, magic, poison, scholarly observations keep Sothrayl safe because he is speaking academically. Garth's next move should be to collapse that distance. You should imply that Sothray's knowledge itself is suspicious. Well, how the fuck is an apothecary's knowledge? Okay. Something like Garth's smile widened slightly. Remarkable. A toxin refined enough to evade physicians, a magical signature subtle enough to elude definition, and yet you seem to understand it so very well. He stopped pacing. Tell me, Sothrayl, how familiar are you with the creation of such things? This line suddenly implies Sothrayl knows too much. Maybe he created the poison, maybe he is involved. The court instantly realizes the conversation is no longer academic. Now Sothrayl must defend himself. What happens in the room? This kind of accusation usually produces dead silence. You might follow that with something like a small murmuring in the hall, died completely, or even the guard shifted uneasily. Now everyone understands the interrogation just became a trial. Why it's especially dangerous for Sothrayl. He's already demonstrated knowledge of toxins, knowledge of magical signatures, presence near the banquet, access to research materials. Garth now suggests only the poisoner would understand the poison, which is exactly the kind of political trap an ambitious prince would set. The best part, Sothrayl can still win the exchange without denying anything. A very Sothrayl-style reply might be something dry like, "My lord, knowledge of a blade does not imply one forged a knife." Fuck. I hate it when that's a good retort. That is a very good retort. Damn it. Or even colder, if understanding the poison were a crime, the royal physician would hang beside me. That keeps him calm while turning the accusation back on Garth. Why this moment is valuable for Garrett. Garrett witnessing this teaches him something important. Court politics is not about truth. It is about who controls suspicion, which fits perfectly with his arc of learning how power actually works. I do want to play with this. Garth's smile widened. Just slightly. Remarkable. A toxin refined enough to evade physicians. A magical signature subtle enough to elude definition, and yet you seem to understand it so very well. He stopped pacing. Tell me, Sothrayl, how familiar are you with the creation of such things? Familiar enough to wear the title. of royal familiar enough to wear the title of Royal Apothecary. And misspelled apothecary. He answered in dry irritation. And to be fair, my lord, it was not I who discovered the foreign agent in His Majesty's system. That discovery is owed to Perival's, albeit late, diligence in thoroughly gathering samples. Mojo, quit digging, dude. My bunny is digging for no good reason. Mojo, stop. Just stop. You have a dig box. You never use your dig box. Should I just take it out? You don't seem to like it. I'm gonna remove this. My apartment is crowded right now because I've been working on selling my old video game systems and going through my garage and trying to get rid of stuff and create space. Mojo, stop. 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 Bad bunny. Stop. Oh, come here. Come here, dude. Oh. Is this what you need? Is this what you need? You need to pick you up and pet you and hold you and love you and hug you and squeeze you and tell you what song you feel you arms and love you. Yeah. I know you hate this. I know you hate this. I know. I know. Oh, I know. Yes, I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Okay. There you go. He hates being picked up. It's the best way to punish him. Just pick him up, love him, hug him, squeeze him, tell him how adorable he is. He hates it. Let's see. Say half elf again. Tilt down his wide nose. And soften the apple. Okay, this is where I go to my notes. Yeah. Cold Control, the last chapter. Perhaps we start with King is not ill, the apothecary. Don't need to capitalize that. Roll his eyes. He has been weakened. I don't want to say foxglove, but I want to say something that if someone reads it and knows plants, they can be like, oh, you mean like foxglove? And they call it purple bells. Like, I like to use plants that exist in our world, but call them something else that just subtly hints towards what they are. So let me look up foxglove. I did not realize it was a member of the plantain family. It's interesting. I could call it rainbow bells because it's white and yellow and orange and purple. Cone bells. Cause a shortness of breath. Muscle fibers. Causes illness, but nothing so dramatic as to be instantly recognizable. The magical component. Garth Prest. Isolate. I am no mage or priest. Simply sensitive to its presence as a product of my pedigree. This is nearly 1,000 words. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of me. Let's do the whole chapter again. And this is over 2 hours now of work, nearly 1,000 words. I think I'm good to do one last little check and then take a break. Like, what time is it? 8:13? Yeah, I gotta walk the dog. But I'm sure this like second to last paragraph that I did with Sothrayel is going to need some breaking up. Like it's going to suggest I add some punctuation, punch it up, break it up, throw in more physical beats. That way we're not getting buried in dialogue. This scene is now very strong. It reads like a proper political inquest, and the tension between Garth and Sothrayel is sharp and believable. You've successfully built a sequence where Sothrayel humiliates Farival. Garth tries to redirect towards magic. Sothrayel refrains of his poison. Garth attempts to implicate Sothrayel. Sothrayel calmly dismantles the implication. This structure works extremely well. What follows are tight line edits, a few clarity tweaks, and 2 small strategic suggestions. What is working exceptionally well, Sothrayel's voice is perfect. This line is excellent. Some of us are serious about our work. That's devastatingly polite contempt, which fits the character beautifully. Also this, he defines what should be present, I identify what should not. That is a fantastic professional distinction to make Sothrayel sound precise and competent rather than mystical. Garth's interrogation feels right. This is a good escalation. Tell me, Sothrayel, how familiar are you with the creation of such things? It's subtle but clearly accusatory. Then Garth tightens the trap. But it was you who isolated the magical component, was it not? That progression feels like an actual cross-examination. The crowd reactions are used well. You've placed them sparingly, chuckle at the king's indulgence, murmuring during accusations, silence during revelations. This makes the court feel alive without becoming noisy. Good restraint, line-level edits. Still not doing that. The king, with the king ill, comma, fuck that. Slight wording, rival at to, no, minor grammar correction, perhaps some kind of curse, perhaps some kind of curse. Ah. No typos, internals, intervals. typo, its presence is. I do that a lot. Boom. It's so weird. It's like the fact that you don't use an apostrophe for the possessive form of its is just strange to me. Typo internals. Internals, intervals. Yeah, okay. One so advanced in years. Whatever, no, I like that. One sentence that is excellent. This is outstanding exposition disguised as testimony. In occasional doses, one might mistake it for medicinal, but at regular intervals, in one so advanced in years, results in gradual decline. Outline, deliberate point, one small structural suggestion. Right now, Southrail delivers the entire toxicological explanation in one large block. You create more tension by letting Garth interrupt once or twice, for example, swamp fungus, a mild paralytic, in isolation. It breaks up the speech and keeps the interrogation feeling active, but the current version is still perfectly workable. One opportunity for character. When Southrail says, "The king is not ill, this is a dramatic moment," you might want to give it room for a stronger reaction. The statement fell over the court like a stone into still water. Yeah, I did that. So you're suggesting that I do something I already did. One subtle power move you could add. Right now, Garth leans over Southrail, leaning over the seated half-elf. You show Southrail not reacting at all, which weakens Garth. Southrail did not bother to look up. Political stakes are now clear. Scene establishes the king was poisoned slowly. The poison required expert knowledge. Magic may be involved. The investigation is public. That means suspicion will fall on court alchemists, priests, scholars, political rivals, which is exactly what a good court intrigue scene should do. Final verdict, this is a very solid interrogation scene. Distinct character voices, believable forensic reasoning, rising tension, effective crowd dynamics, strong political implications. It reads like something out of a good historical court drama. If you want, I can also show you one extremely effective final line Garth could say that would end this interrogation chapter on a chilling note, the kind of line that makes readers immediately want the next chapter. Alright, sure. Let's see what you got. Oh, the best way to end an interrogation scene like this is a line that doesn't resolve the mystery but shifts the danger onto someone in the room. Right now, Sothrale has essentially proven the king is being poisoned. The poison is slow and deliberate. The ingredients are swamp-derived, which means the court could immediately begin thinking who has access to swamp compounds, and in your story that points directly to Yggdra, so Garth's closing move should be to seize the narrative before anyone else does. That I get to isolate, I have no magical priest, simply sensitive to the presence as a product of my pedigree. You could have a brief pause, and Garth says something like, Garth's smile faded slowly as he considered the apothecary's words, swamp fungus, cone bell, swamp root. His eyes lifted toward the court, curious. Then, because I have recently been informed that a certain swamp woman has been selling charms and tinctures to the soldiers stationed along the marsh road. Now the room reacts, a ripple murmuring through the hall, and Garth delivers the order. Guards, he said calmly, bring this Yggdra before the court. Yeah, this is where I naturally go into the first mention, the first like court proceeding of Yggdra. So if not your work, Garth paused, letting the implication hang for a moment. Do you know of anyone capable of creating such a complex, refined compound? Yeah, I'm fine with Witch. Now, I don't know. I'm still debating if I want to do Sothrale and Paravel as separate chapters. I was thinking I was going to put all the medical stuff into one chapter, but at a little over 1,000 words, and then possibly doing some additive editing later, like this could be a nice standalone chapter. But it's at 1,000 words, I estimate that's going to be about a 10-minute read. And at 2,500 words, my average read time for each of my chapters in the first book is 20 minutes. The strong, clean transition into Ygritte's involvement. It feels believable that Sothrale would mention her as a technical authority, and believable that Garth would immediately weaponize the information. You've got the core dynamic working. Sothrale answers honestly. Garth twists the answer into suspicion. The machinery of the state moves. It's good court politics. Below are some small edits and a couple of small improvements. No major rewrites. Sothrale's reluctance. There is one that I know of. Sothrale's side. The side communicates he knows this will cause trouble, but he won't lie. That fits the character you've established. Garth's reaction is perfectly political. The moment is excellent. Garth stood back and scowled at Sothrale for a moment. It shows he's thinking, not just reacting. Then the calm order. Guards find this peddler and bring her in for questioning. Very believable. Line edits. Slight punctuation fix. There is one that I know of. Sothrale's side should be... I'm familiar with her work. Sentence can be sharpened slightly with Swamp Witch, who lives outside the city. The Swamp Witch, who lives beyond the marsh road outside the city. Yeah, I suppose. One small character opportunity. Right now, Sothreel sounds a little too neutral about Yggdra. Given his earlier tone, you might let him show a hint of professional respect. Though I've never met her, I'm familiar with her work. The Swamp Witch, who lives outside the city, she's isolated but sells her tinctures along the road from time to time. Her work is rather extraordinary. Subtly frames Yggdra as a serious practitioner, not just a folk witch, which would make Garth's later treatment of her feel more unjust. Seems like I already have that. After Sothreel says, the Swamp Witch, you might get a reaction from the room. A few commoners murmured uneasily at the mention of the Mars Witch, or several nobles exchanged wary glances. This reinforces that Yggdra already has a reputation. One small threat enhancement. Garth's final line is good, but you can add a hint of menace with one-word guards. I'm fine with that. Overall, this is a very effective handoff scene because it concludes the poison investigation stage, introduces the scapegoat, escalates political danger, moves the story forward cleanly, nothing feels forced. If you want, I can show you one subtle line Sothreel could say here that would later make readers realize he actually suspected the real culprit all along. It's a neat bit of retrospective foreshadowing. Yeah, I'm curious. What do you got? The trick is to let Sothreel say something that sounds purely technical in the moment, but on a reread, hearing the poison didn't really match Yggdra. You don't want him accusing anyone directly. That would derail the scene. Instead, he leaves a quiet qualifier that signals doubt to careful readers. The best place is right after he mentions Yggdra. He could add, there's something that I know of. Pause briefly, her work rather extraordinary from what I've sampled, though this particular compound is far more deliberate than anything of hers I've ever encountered. Yeah, no, I'm going to pass on that. However, she would prescribe. Why this fits Sothrail, you've written him as careful with evidence, unwilling to speculate recklessly, and intellectually honest. So he wouldn't say she did it, he would say she is capable, but this is unusual. This is exactly the kind of scientific precision that gets ignored in political trials. Why? What this achieves later when Ydra is arrested and interrogated, the reader subconsciously remembers Sothrail didn't sound convinced, which makes Carth look more manipulative and Sothrail look more perceptive. It also reinforces Sothrail as someone who notices the truth but doesn't control the politics. Bonus, even subtler version, her work is rather extraordinary from what I've sampled, though she tends toward remedies rather than poisons. I like that better. If you'd like, I can show you a tiny behavioral detail about Sothrail could do in this scene that secretly signals to Garrett that something about this accusation is wrong without either of them speaking. It's a neat mentor-style moment. Okay. Let's see it, because that's like my biggest issue right now is I know that Garrett has kind of disappeared into the scene. I just mentioned he's sitting on the sidelines, and all of this entire story is from his point of view. That's important. He is my central character. I got all these characters that are moving about and doing stuff. As he said it, Sothrail briefly closed his eyes as though already regretting the answer. Alright. That's 2.5 hours. I feel really good. Like, this might actually be a chapter. Small chapter. It's only 2.5 pages. Which, when formatted, will be less, but I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about this. I'm really tempted to go into everything that I've done so far and work on chapter breaks and divide it up so I actually have proper chapter counts, because this is getting annoying. Like, I'm calling this book 2 chapter 6. It is not chapter 6. This is chapter, I think I'm in my 20s at this point, and I know I've got another 24, 25 chapters to go. So I'm almost to the midpoint of the book. This feels like it was really good progress today. Really good progress today. I'm proud of me. I woke up, sat down, not wanting to work, wanting to just fuck around and play video games. And Mojo, knock it off. And I banged out what feels like a good chapter, a short chapter. Like, I like my chapters to be longer, but this feels like a win. This feels like a definite win. I'm proud of me. I got almost 1,100 words, and I was just trying to push myself to get to 500. But this works. This definitely works. And I was able to get into that subtle name drop of Yggdra. And then next for questioning is Parabol. And hi! Meow! What do you want? Come here. Oh, come here. I know you hate being picked up. I know. Ow. 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 Stabby feet. Hello. Hello, mischief. So, with the good apothecaries, let's say royal apothecaries. Let's change good to royal and italicize it. Mo? Okay. Hi. Yes, hello, baby. You ready for a proper walk? We should do that. We should definitely do that. Okay. So, yeah. That's my stream. I'm over 2.5 hours now. Proud of me. Proud of me. Because I wanted to quit at half an hour. And I got... I don't know if this is going to be a whole chapter. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep writing on this chapter and add in Paravol's section, because Paravol is next. And I was thinking about originally dividing my chapters up by subject, so having 2 people questioned per chapter. So this is the medical. And then for the next one, it's the servants. So the cupbearer and... No, it's not. No. The Cupbearer and Pomeroy. Those are my next. So Paravol, then Aldrich, then Pomeroy. Those are my next 3 to be questioned, and that's today that I'm right. Not today that I'm working. Maybe I'll do them today. That would be ambitious. That would be awesome, because I want this draft done by the end of this month, and we're already on the 7th. So I think that means I got like 3 weeks to go. I'm not sure how many days are in March. Mojo! Mojo! Oh, you little asshole. Okay, so I'm going to tend to my zoo, and next stream that I hop on today is probably going to be me doing my middle of the day Warcraft. I wish. I really wish. I know there's a whole new expansion out, and they've revamped Silvermoon, and I'm so disappointed in my broke-ass self that I'm not engaged in that, and I'm not playing that. Like, I miss Warcraft right now. There's a new expansion. I wish I was playing it. But I can't swing that financially, and that would be irresponsible, and it fucks up my back playing at the computer. But that would be some good streaming stuff. Stop. Stop. Stop it. But I'll be back on with Warframe after I do what I gotta do. Taking care of the animals and maybe even getting hold of the wife. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm feeling really good about this. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of me today. So peace out. I will be back later, like I said, with Warframe, because I get more followers playing Warframe than I do doing this stuff. Peace out. See you Twitch.